Hi, folks. I'm back. Yesterday, I couldn't get to the talking about the Java client, because I took some time actually looking into how to construct a Java client to work with Apache Pulsar. So, if you are brand new to Apache Pulsar, let me just give another quick kind of intro in a few minutes. So it is. It is as such, right? In a simplest sense, if you have to break it down, it's essentially a broker, but the broker is kind of special. It's not just, you can do beyond just PubSub, right? And normally we think of a broker, like what I did before was with MQTT. It's also like PubSub approach. So we make use of a broker. Broker is like the middleman, like the post office, right? You want to send some messages out. But the difference is that it's sort of a broadcast thing. So you bring your letters to the post office. You just tell the broker, the agent, to just essentially broadcast, but with restrictions, because then you're labeling your messages according to the topics, right? So we call it topics. It's a way of identifying your message. What does it belong to? So then it's up to those who are interested in your messages to subscribe to that topic. So when the messages arrive, then your broker will send the messages accordingly. So think of Pulsar is also doing the same thing, the PubSub approach. It's just a broker. However, Apache Pulsar is more than just a broker, right? And you can actually also do message queuing. Now, message queuing, the difference is that queues imply a point-to-point communication. Sender and receiver, well, basically two messages are being made ready, but you only allow for that to be picked up once and then it will be deleted. So that's the queuing. Now the Apache Pulsar is special in that it actually has both of these capabilities too. I will get more into that aspect, but for today we take a look into the coding aspect. How do you use a Java client to talk to Apache Pulsar essentially? Now, I like to be able to also experiment with JavaScript at some point too. You can do JavaScript, you can do Golang and all of these other languages, although I think the number of, let's go take a look, okay? Let me kind of shift myself to smaller so then I don't block things. All right, so Pulsar, right? So if you go to this website, English website, right? And oops, wrong thing, wrong window, okay. Let me kind of do this. So Apache Pulsar, again, Apache projects, open source projects, that's what we're going after. And that's what I'm excited about. I've been doing open source for quite some time. So this is kind of nice. And hey, Max, thank you so much. Yeah, I was just talking with Max just these few days. So thank you. And I know Max has been busy. So thanks for taking your time out. Again, today, I intend to doing just an hour or so episode, right, to kind of cover for what I did not get to yesterday, which is the coding part. So Max, thank you and welcome. So, okay, so Apache Pulsar, right, I give a little bit of introduction for those of you who are just dropping in, wanting to kind of have a sense of what it is. Okay, so here's another question. So if you are a programmer, you've been using, right, other kind of messaging platforms, streaming platforms, and then in the Java world, right, with Apache projects, so many of these big data like streaming, all of these, right, well, namely Apache Kafka, right? So Kafka is also a big thing. And then not just Kafka, right? There's Apache Spark, which is very, very, very popular with the machine learning folks, right, doing large sets of data crunching through, right? Apache Spark. And there's also Apache Flink, also Apache Storm. So all of these, they are trying to accomplish the same thing, right? It's kind of essentially processing huge number of sets of data. Okay, so Pulsar, the thing is that it, again, right, it's more of a unified messaging platforms, and it kind of brings messaging up another level. Think of it less of a thing to take over, because the thing is, if you're already running Kafka, you're already running Apache Beam, right, Apache Storm, Flink, Spark, all of these, you can essentially put the Pulsar, sort of plug it in on top and enhance what you have. The reason is that Pulsar is built more for more of the grand scale type of thing, right? So think of a big company, right, you have like multiple regions, right? So they have the concept of geo replication. Now think of the fact that if you want to do it in Kafka or some other systems, you have to essentially take care of, especially in a cloud deployment scenario, you have to take care of, what happened, your broker, you have topics that are partitioned, right, into different kind of instances of your broker, get it partitioned, all of these things. Then you have to essentially do a lot of manual things to kind of make sure that if you spin up another broker, spin down another broker, you need to rebalance all of your brokers to make sure all of these topics are somehow evenly distributed or you don't lose something, right? So the thing is, Pulsar has already got it natively built in. There's this thing called Geo Replication. So essentially, if you have kind of like different data centers, right, that are installed, you have clusters of data of these processing capabilities, brokers that are scattered in your different data center. So the thing is with Pulsar is that it's already built in. So then in some ways too, then it takes all the the extra complexity, so to speak, off your mind, because within itself it already has mechanisms to deal with like rebalancing, right? There are things that are topics that are in different brokers, partitioned off in different brokers, for example, and you can have clients that are in a pub-sub kind of scenario. You can have clients that are have a dedicated like broker, dedicated how can I say, dedicated connection your client only receives from a certain type of topic, for example, or they are shared subscription, one subscription, a share among different clients or consumers, right? Things like that, right? I'm just giving some example. So all of these things too, Pulsar can kind of help you with too. Now, the best thing of it is that it not only kind of it guarantees, right? You can also set the different like quality of service type of mechanism to set all of your message delivery guarantee, all of these things. And there are also the concept of this geo replication in which, they take care of things in multiple center. So you don't need to be as worried as those kind of things, right? So now the key with Pulsar is that the way it's designed is that it's essentially split out the compute side, right? So you have the processing side. And then, of course, too, when you're processing huge amounts of data, all of these things in transit, you need some way of storing the data. So the nice thing about Pulsar is designed with that in mind, knowing that you are handling a huge amounts of data. So instead of it bothering with that, it's like, okay, I'm in the business of dealing with the broker. All of these already complex enough. So let me call my friend to help. And this friend is Apache Bookkeeper, right? It's a bookie. So Bookkeepers is a specialist in dealing with huge amounts of data, logging streams, all of these continuous sets of data. You need to section off or partitioning off all of your segments of all of your log things. It takes care of things for you. So then you offload this responsibility off of Apache, the main Pulsar broker side of things. So, and you need, and you may argue, you say, okay, well, now we introduce another element into this whole mixture. Sure, yes, of course. But think of the fact that it's like you running a household, right? You have to go to work, you have to take care of your kids, you have to take care of the garden, you have to take care of everything. If you have to do everything, you'll be exhausted, right? Yeah, of course you can do it. There's nothing prevents you. And it's nothing like, maybe not even, some things are not that complicated, but the fact is your time is already partitioned. So why do everything yourself, right? Some things you need to delegate to somebody else to do it. So that's the idea. So Bookkeeper will keep track of all of these things for you. And well, of course, then, when you deal with introduce another person, or in this case, another process into the mixture, right? An external, another processor dealing with that, then you do have to deal with some of the complexity of the communication side of things. But the thing is, it's already there. So you don't need to worry about it. So that's the idea. Okay, so that's with the logging, data storage, and that's separate out. Not only that, right? When you are dealing with clusters, right? You need somebody to manage to all these different clusters and everything. And guess what? We call on Zookeeper, right? The keeper of the zoo, right? You have pigs and dogs and all kinds of animals in this whole kind of chaotic system. So Zookeeper is there to help you keep track of all the metadata, all of the management of all of these clusters, all of these administrative, so to speak, things, right? So that's how like a Pulsar is. So without further ado, let's get into some coding part. So let's take a look, right? So if you go to this website, which I think I sent it, or did I send it to you? Oh, so bad. I was just talking and forgot. Okay. I'd love to talk, but okay. Pulsar. Okay, I just share with you, right? Okay, just cover me. That's okay. So that's the this website pulsar.apache.org in English, right? So if you want to kind of visit this and at the same time, so okay. So rather than covering myself, uncover myself, let me go back. So client libraries. If you take a look into the client library, so you see that there are. Let me kind of make it bigger. So Java client. So that's first and foremost. It is, I mean, as such, right? Apache projects are mostly, I'd say mostly, right? Java. So we keep the tradition. It is Java. So Java client, and then you can do Go, right? It's so popular now. I think in Kubernetes, in the container world too, it's all Go. Python is popular among machine learning folks, data science, and then also C++ client too. And then Node.js and also WebSocket client and also the C# client too. Now, there have been folks asking me, how about the other JVM languages? I think it's my good friend, right, App Boy, who actually kind of did some research for me. Thank you so much. And then he found out Scala is actually written up by contributing by the community too. So I don't think it's officially placed in here yet. Perhaps there are needs for some sort of verification or certification first. But I wouldn't be surprised, once it is good, it will also be listed as an officially supported client library too. So yeah, if you're in Scala, you might want to also check it out. If you're Kotlin, any other maybe Clojure, that I can't speak for sure, but you can also, if you are interested in those, we can kind of take a look. So, okay, so today, well, let's kind of take a look in here too. So features, right? There are also different features matrix too. So all of these are in like pip, right? The what is that? What does like pip stand for? It kind of reminds me of Python, right? Pip. Anyway, but you can have there are other a lot of like proposed. Must be some kind of proposal thing, right? And folks, you might know better than me, but the pip is a work in progress. So yeah, so if you're interested, go to the kind of take a look at all of these different requests, right? And you can kind of take a look at it. What have been accepted, what have been discarded, all of these things, and there are different committees, kind of information, you can check those out too. So that's that. And then third-party clients too. Oh, here we go. Oh, what am I kind of talking of? You can tell I didn't pay attention when I was going through. But now we have like Go, Haskell too, and Scala, yeah, Rust, and .NET, and Node.js. So these are the different external projects too. So I think over here, right? If you develop a new Pulsar client, feel free to submit a pull request and add your list to below. So I guess, yeah, once it is kind of all good, you can be like upgraded to a properly recognized client too. So yeah, so feel free to do that too. So now let's kind of take a look into Java. So the idea is that you can use the Pulsar Java client to create the producer, the consumer, and readers of messages too, and to perform administrative tasks. And the current client version is 2.9.1. Okay, so that's cool. Now, all of these, they are thread safe, all of the producer, consumer, and reader, which is all good. And so the Javadoc, right, over here, actually, I already opened this up on my token. Okay, that's fine. So these are the different, the Javadoc is here. It's actually quite good, if you kind of take a look, right? I actually already started playing around with the producer and consumer too. So, actually consumer, let's write together if I have time. If not, I'll show you the producer. And Max, you have a question. Let me see. So Max, you asked a great question. Such one are maintained by the community, not for data stacks. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Max. So at this point too, I'm only kind of focusing on the open source side. Now, at DataStax, there are 5 committers from DataStax, and then there are also other vendors too that are contributing to Apache Pulsar. So if you've been kind of looking, maybe you are aware of a company called Stream Native. They are actually quite kind of a big group of people. I think it's because some of them worked at Yahoo before, right? So they were already involved with Pulsar in the beginning, and now they kind of branch off of Yahoo, form their own company called Stream Native. So they are actually, I think they've got more contributors too. But the DataStax too, we have 5 committers. 2 of them are actually PMC. So that is pretty good too. So yeah, and so all of these is the community. It is very correct. It's not DataStax, not any vendors. And in fact, let me share with you too. Where is it? I think at my talk. Okay, over here. So over here too, I meant to say, right, if you are interested, right, so let me kind of like unhide myself. Okay, so at my talk too, I'm encouraging everybody, please join us at the hood, right? Neighborhood. We have this concept right now. We have started up right on meetup.com. We have Apache Pulsar neighborhood, because the idea is that we want to form these communities. As more calling it more like a neighborhood, it's less of a kind of a connection with the vendors that are behind. Even though, yeah, in some ways we can't avoid it. We do work for companies and they are vendors, right? But the thing is, we want to be as impartial as possible, right? And we don't take sides, so to speak. So we want to encourage the technology itself, which is open source, Apache Pulsar. So please kind of check out too. There's this meetup.com, the Apache Pulsar neighborhood, and then also there's also another like Pulsar neighborhood, which is a page. Is you can all contribute to it too. It's basically a website, right? So let me take a look. Where is it? Actually, I thought I had it, but let me do this. Okay, here we go. So yeah, so this is the Apache Pulsar neighborhood. Let me share it too. So Apache Pulsar neighborhood. Okay, I think it takes a second. All right, so that's the Pulsar neighborhood. It's a GitHub page. So yeah, so please check it out. It is very new now, so then it's not as crowded, so to speak, right now. But we encourage the community to contribute to it, and it's directly on GitHub. So I don't know whether, yeah, that's right. You can submit a request. So we essentially just convert. I wonder if it's actually a GitHub request. Yeah, a pull request. Or well, I shouldn't say pull request. It's just a request that our community manager has set that up. So yeah, so if you're interested, please consider contributing to it too. So it's just over here, right? Submit the request. So yeah, so so feel free. And like I said, right, you can also try it out. So why don't we kind of like start to kind of get into it? Because even for me, right, this is my third week at the company. It was like so busy the first 2 weeks, right? It was mostly onboarding all of these other things and meetings and all these things. So this week, finally, I start to get around to actually becoming like a developer again and really like start to learn about this. So I like to share with you. So, okay, let's kind of go in now. And how I start is that, this is, okay, so this is the neighborhood thing, but there's also a, you go to the Pulsar website, actually, that might be good. Okay, I think from here too, we also have the project documentation. Yeah, so the project documentation will bring you to the Pulsar website, which is, okay. Actually, this one is just, actually, you know what? Let me do this first, just for your convenience. So just now I gave you was the Pulsar community neighborhood, but now this is Apache Pulsar main project site, right? So I think it's here. Okay, show. So just pulsar.apache.org. So you can go here. So that's essentially what I've done, right? I have set up a Pulsar like running locally. However, locally in terms of, I'm actually, I shouldn't say completely locally. I use the Docker version because it's always easiest, right? When you run it Dockerized, everything's already there, so you don't need to deal with all of the setup. Now, the thing is too, with Docker, of course, then you're going to need your Docker desktop. Okay, so everything's contained there. But like I said, I also got, for developing my client, I do have Java 17 on my machine. And of course, another thing is Java 18 just got released, And tonight, actually, if you're up for it, right, the Chicago Java Users Group, of which I'm the president, I actually will be hosting the talk on Java 18 by Billy Corando. So he's a really great guy, funny guy too. So I told him, I said, come here and prepare for some of your cat stories because he recently got 2 cats and they are so funny. And of course, if you know Billy, he's the funniest guy. Let's take a look. He's the funniest guy, I have to tell you. He's a great, absolutely great guy. I love him. And I used to work with him. Great teammate. So let me kind of go into here, Twitter. Okay, so this is my Twitter, but let's go to, what is it? Okay, notification. Let me see what I have. Oh, see, Pulsar. Oh, Aaron. Okay, so Aaron, if you're here, let me know. I should invite you in and introduce you too. Let me know, Aaron. I know you're somewhere. And okay, and Max. Yes, he is very funny, isn't he? I just love Billy. You follow him, right? And follow him. And let me go to him. Let me go to Billy. And this is kind of small, but let me. Oops, what am I doing? Kind of my keys. Also another thing, but Billy Corando. Okay, and of course he works for Oracle now. So here's the guy. Isn't he funny? Anyway, I think he's gonna kill me. I'm just kidding. But okay, so his wife, right, Bree, they are funniest couple. If you follow them, I told them they really should be doing a what you call like sitcom, not sitcom, doing a twitcom, right, on Twitter. That will be really so funny. But then it was funny too when I saw Bree, and Bree was like, "Don't you give this idea to Billy? Don't you dare!" And then it was like so funny. The two of them are like cracking me up all the time. But anyway, so you just have to be be ready. He's funny. So please come. Let me see. Where is he? Well, anyway, now, okay, so Billy will be here, but let me also first show you too. So this is the thing. Let me kind of expand it. Why am I so small? So Sharat Chander, he is the Java program, right? The worldwide in Oracle worldwide. What is he? I can never quite remember. I thought of him a more of a VP or director level guy running all of the Oracle user program, Java users group, and he's just yeah, that's right. His wheels are, yeah, that's right. Max, you're right. Thank you. Yes, and Max, you know him too. So, okay, so there's also Sharat. So Sharat, you should be following him to get any kind of Java updates. You can't be wrong. So he announced that Java 1 will be back. So if you've been a Java enthusiast, you know that Java 1, they started running this conference since the birth of Java, pretty much, right? So I think it was 1996, maybe. That's when they had the first one. Sometime around that, 96 or 97. So I'd been to some of the early ones. In fact, I went to one, I'm trying to remember, 1999, no, 2000. I think that's when I went to. It was really good, really fun. The Java one is just so many people so excited, all the Java stuff. And of course, at that time, things were just starting off and I was just learning Java, all these things. So Java one has been, was in the running for longest time until I think was 2017. That was the last Java one. Now, the one thing I wanted to point out, if you get to go to Java one this year, they will be in Las Vegas. So, which is nice, right? Because Las Vegas, for one thing, it isn't as expensive, right? And talking about hotel rooms in San Francisco, I remember when I was at IBM, somebody didn't book the rooms ahead of time. So at the last minute, you try to book the rooms. One night was $900 US, you're like, whoa, sometimes $900, you can get a very nice room for a whole week or with some money change for it too. Anyway, it's crazy, in San Francisco. So the fact that they moved to Las Vegas, I think is a good thing because it's just the cost wise, will be better. And, not to say, don't get me wrong, San Francisco is a very lovely city, but it also has over time, right, gotten really crowded and really busy, a lot of traffic, right, and all these things. And unfortunately, too, even that part of the downtown San Francisco where the conference center is, the Moscone Center, is a little bit, not very safe, shall I say. So, and, in expensive hotels and all these things. And well, anyway, it's just a little bit, unfortunately, right, less safe. So the fact that I think going to Vegas is probably a good thing. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So Java one will be October 16th to 20th. So if you do get a chance to go, please do consider going, especially if you're a Java enthusiast. All of us are so excited, right? And Java champions too, among ourselves, we talk about, everyone is like, great, it's like a giant worldwide Java enthusiasts, passionate people, experts, everybody getting together, and then you got party too after. The after party is humongous, right? It's fun, it's very friendly, open arms to everybody. So people from Europe, from Asia, from everywhere gathering, right? All the Java people. So I just want to talk about it because that's what kind of keeps me going. It's just lovely to have a great community. Yeah, and Max, yes, I would. I think that would be great, Max, if you can come too. I think yeah, it would be a dream for you. Yeah, that is correct, and you just said the same thing. It's definitely a safe place. So okay, so that's for the thing. But let me actually share with you to our Chicago Java users group. And well, okay. So Chicago, Java, actually, you think I should have that up, but of course I don't. But if you visit our CJUG, right, our meetup, oh, what am I doing? I'm getting a JSON back that says status code 500. Something is wrong. I hope it isn't got something wrong. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. So our Chicago Java users group. Sorry if I'm kind of doing a bit of an advertisement, but I think we should. But anyway, so Billy. So that's tonight, Billy. And Java 18 just came out, so it can't be more timely than this, right? Just 2 days after. So he's going to bring a lot of goodies and tell us more about what it is that in Java 18 that we should be paying attention to, right? So, okay. So please consider coming. We are at 7 p.m. Roughly, right? We usually start a bit kind of late because everybody comes late for some reason. And no problem. I mean, it's evening time in the US, right? And if you are, I think if you're in Europe, yeah, I'm sorry, it's a bit very late, but please do check out our YouTube channel when we have the recordings, right? So that's that, and so 7, and then Billy will do the presentation, and then we're gonna have one JetBrains license for raffle too. So that's what we normally do. Sometimes one, sometimes two, it depending on how many people show up too, because we have limited free licenses. So. And then we have some like after meetup time, a bit of a social gathering too, if you're interested. So yeah, please do consider joining. I think folks have been liking it. So, and thank you. So, okay, let me shift back now. So shift back to doing our client, okay, here we go. Where is it? Overview, the client. Okay, we're going to do that. And where am I? And okay, there we go. Setup. Okay, here we go. So now I've already done some work because knowing that it's going to take some time, but if you kind of follow this, right, if you kind of go down, run Pulsar in Docker, this is the one. I kind of suggest doing that because in some ways too, it is just a lot easier in some ways, right? So I just share with you that one. So it's just the one that runs on standalone Docker. Now this is just good for, as such as for demo purpose, right? It's just to kind of illustrate the mechanics, how it works. So essentially, if you take a look at this, right, we start Pulsar. Okay, here we go. Let me bring over my, hold on. Let me go over here. Okay, so I've already started. Let me do this one thing. Let me go back there and put this side by side. Let me do this one thing. That's how you do it, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, so makes it a little bit easier. So, okay, so set up a standalone Docker. So I've already done this part. Essentially is here, the Docker run, and then giving all of these parameters, mounted, all of these things. Oops, no, why does it get? Okay, all right. So, and that's what I've done, right? I ran the Docker, and then it brought up the server. So as you can see, I did it last night, rather late, but anyway, I wanted to make sure it works. So it is. So which is very good. And then you can also see info level messages too, knowing that, it is up, right? So, okay. And then basically too, it says if you start a local standalone cluster, a public default namespace is created automatically. Then the namespace is used for development purposes. So just kind of a note too. For namespace, the concept, right, is in Pulsar, and also it's more of a Cassandra thing. Well, I shouldn't say, well, I shouldn't really bring it in because it's more of a data stacks thing. But I wanted to kind of also point out too, and how do you get to, with data stacks if you want to use it, right, in our cloud. Let me kind of bring that up to where am I? Data stacks. So, okay, here we go. Now, also too, this thing, let me share with you too. Again, I won't share anything that isn't free. Let's put it that way. So this is, not only is it free tier sign up, but you can actually, so basically is data stacks. It is a data stacks specific thing. Astra Cloud. So this would be called a free tier. I really love it. Whenever you sign up for free things, it doesn't ask you for a credit card right away, right? So I think unless you kind of run over the limit, which we won't. And the nice thing is that we will give you $25 as a starting credit for, there's just no obligation. So and then basically $25 credit to start with, right? As a starter. So this guy, and then here we go, extra.cloud. Wait, what is it? Extra.datastacks.com. Okay, so I just share with you that. So yeah, so that's the extra.datastacks.com. I believe that's what it is. Let me kind of double check that I don't tell you the wrong thing. Wait. Extra datastacks, yeah, extra.datastacks.com, and it will bring you to this, this site, this web page. So. And what I do, I've already gotten a free account, but for you, it's actually very straightforward, right? Just do a sign up for it. You can do sign up in here. But if you already have one, then just do the sign in, and you can just use your Google credential too. In my case, I'm using my company account. I just, like I said, I just want to bring this up. So as you can see, it's actually, to me, I find the interface to be quite kind of easy enough to use. It's not like loaded with way too much information, which is nice. Now, I won't spend a lot of time on this right now, especially actually if you're a Cassandra user, you may want to check this out to play around with Cassandra, right? Really good database, NoSQL database especially for big data, like wide columns type of database. That's what it's boasted in. So it is very good. I really have to say, DataStax is a great place. I'm so glad to be here. So, okay, all right. Anyway, enough of this thing. So if you want to do that, right, there's also what is called like streaming, right, that we do. Company does to enable Cassandra streaming, and the Cassandra is really through Pulsar. That's what it is. So now there's more to it. I'll talk more later. But the thing is too, is that you can actually create a tenant, what is called a tenant, and then there are different like namespaces too. But anyway, like I said, right, I thought I'd talk about namespace, and then it reminds me of that. Then I realized, okay, no, the namespace I was thinking is more about DataStax, how we, it's kind of still, I'd say, right, it's still a Cassandra kind of concepts, but it's kind of Pulsar also makes use of it, especially in our Astra streaming platform. And there's also a Luna streaming too, which is actually the true open source implementation, but it's not managed. You can do the same thing, but you manage yourself, and that's the difference. And the nice thing about Luna streaming, by the way, is that if you use that, right, you can use it all free, and it's supported by DataStax. And the nice thing about it is that any kind of updates, in Pulsar itself, we will push it right away. It's basically Luna streaming is really good with keeping up with the latest thing. But if you use the pure open source version, sometimes there are things that may not come as fast, And also too, I like to be inviting some of the engineers from the team over to talk about the streaming side of things if you're interested. So yeah, so that will bring you a lot more closer to the meat, right? To kind of like we're driving cars, we want to look underneath the hood, all of these different parts. I'm gonna get those guys over at some point. So okay, let me then okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, let's kind of get to quickly then get to the client, right? Okay, where is it? Okay, here we go. Setup. Okay, here. So that's what I've done. So my Docker, when I after I run the Docker command, and this is what we get. My Pulsar broker is running locally, like that. So okay, so here too. Interesting too, if you follow this, then it gives you Python client API right away. But we're going to do not Python today. So we're going to do Java. But also, let's take a look at Python too. I do have to admit to sometimes if you do JavaScript or Python, they tend to be less of a ceremonial thing. How come this thing is still up? Okay, let me hide. Okay. I must have accidentally do that. Okay, Max, yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Max, for coming. Yeah, please go. It's late for you. So thank you for being here, Max. Okay, we'll talk later. Okay, folks, if you want to join me too, I'm sure you won't stay if you don't need to. But let me also then share with you my Discord. Discord. I'm very good, right? Am I sharing things, right? So my Discord server, if you want to stay connected, is down here. So okay, in the meantime, let me while we're here, why don't we take a look at the Python client too? So for Python client using pip, like I said, right, whenever it's PIP, I think of Python because I worked with Python before too. Though not for a long time, but I've done it enough so that I know some of these things, right? And plus, actually, I do have to say, I came up to speed. I was able to spin up like the RESTful API within like 3 hours. I was just reading up Doc when I was just starting to learn Python. It's actually the Flask, using Flask, right? The library is actually pretty decent, right? Anyway, so that's that. And then if you want to do a consuming the messages, right? All you need to do is import Pulsar and then do a Pulsar.client, and then you connect, and that's the endpoint to use if you want to connect directly like this to Pulsar 6650, right? Using the Pulsar client connection. And then from that client handle, that connection handle, you can then do a subscribe to the topic and then give it a subscription name too. And then if it is true, so it's basically you basically are there to listen now, right? Listen if there are messages that are being sent to that topic. So if they are their messages, then it will get it and then print it out. Now, as such too, I believe this mode by default is still kind of like a synchronous send, right? Or, well, actually it depends, right, on the producer side. So let's take a look. And then when you're done doing a client.close, so that's kind of like the essential kind of steps, right? Much like what I showed you before when I did MQTT. Same kind of thing. Doing a client connect is a handshake, right? The packet goes over client connect, and then the broker gets it, will send back an ACK, an acknowledgement, right? Depending on your quality of service levels, right? So in this case, let's not worry about it. I think by default, it might be like an exactly once, or maybe not. I don't know. I got to find out about Pulsar. So, okay, no problem. Let's get over then to producer side. So producer side, also you do the same thing doing a client connect, right? But in this case, it's interesting. The thing is too, I shouldn't say interesting. It's actually the same. It's doing to the same URL because you can also do a local host kind of that level of connection rather than using the Pulsar too. And the local host will go to 8080, I believe. So, okay, so that's that. And then the producer, essentially, all you need to do is just create the producer, client.create producer, and give it the topic that's associated with this producer. And then basically, then you can then send it, right? Send things over. And then when you're done, client.close. So, okay, so that's really basic, right? Okay, let's take a look at Java. Let me go over here. I've already got that up. At least right now it's only the producer. I had time to kind of code up the producer. Obviously, haven't tested it yet. I still have some small things to play around with the messaging side. I want to alter the messaging, but maybe if we don't alter it and see what happens too. So, okay, I think this is big enough. Okay, that's cool. All right, let me kind of like not be so annoying. I'm just kind of covering my, okay. All right, so here we go. So in this case, right, I generated a project. This is IntelliJ, and I generated my project, essentially call my client Pulsar client test in here. And then let's look at my POM file. I'm using POM in this case, and why is it so small? Let me make it a little bigger. I thought I already give it 20, but it looks small, so let's do 28. This is funny. Why is it like not able to? I thought, I'm not sure like why this is small and then this is okay, and then the XML file is small. Anyway, but okay, so as long as it's not way too small for now. So, but just to give you an idea, so the basic scenario, right? I generated my project that has the skeletal Maven. Essentially, I have group ID, I have my own domain, and then I have my artifact ID, calling it Pulsar client test 1, and then I'm using 17 for my Maven, Java 17, and then Pulsar version I'm using 291. That's the latest. And the dependencies, all we need is just this org.apache.pulsar, and then the Pulsar client, and the version. Oh, you know what? Oh yeah, the version is taken from here. I have 291. So sometimes I like to set parameters that can be configured at a single spot, right? So, okay. And then the scope is a compile in this case. So, okay, so that's that. And let's take a look then at the client, right? So, okay, so my package and then my my thing here, if you recall, we're importing org.apache.pulsar.client.api. That's the package we're using, and there's message builder. Actually, the message builder is not used. I think I must have kind of come across something old. So okay, so let me then kind of comment it out for now, so it doesn't get me the red. And then there's also message ID. We'll take a look at how it is being used. This is funny too. Something is not liking it. Service.url. Why is it so? Rename. No, I'm not sure. Maybe the builder doesn't have the Pulsar client.builder. Okay, so they might have changed, because I think I might have read it from some older documentation. So anyway, so I'm going to be using producer, and then the Pulsar client and the Pulsar client exception. And then I like to, in general, use logger, my SLF4J logger. So you can use any logging framework. And then over here too, I wanted to actually take the stream of data and then basically set the format to it. So I'm using a stream.instream kind of object to kind of help with that. So that's what it is. But okay, so here we go. So my broker, I'm connecting to Pulsar / localhost / 6650, and I call it and give it a topic name. So okay, so now there's something. Like I said, I just kind of like quickly coded it up, so I didn't have time to kind of double check. So it appears that my builder service.url doesn't work. Okay, let's kind of take a look. Go back to it. Let's go back to this guy. Where is it? Here. Oops. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me then kind of shrink it a little more. Okay. Oh no, not message. What was I looking at? Pulsar client. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Pulsar client. Okay, so the builder. Yeah, why is it not liking it? Oh, maybe I did the wrong. I wasn't using lowercase, so let me see. There we go. That's it. There we go. Okay, so I'm good. Okay, and then I basically first over here I do a Pulsar client.builder, and then .builder will return the handle that I can then use it for setting my service URL, and then I do a .build to set it up so my client is now connected if I get to that point. The next thing I do is then doing a producer. We do a client.new producer. That's how we can then essentially kick it in action, set a topic to it, and .create will actually instantiate this whole thing, and then it's created for the topic. Now, here's the thing. I thought I should be able to do a message builder. I think there's no builder anymore. Let's see. There's a couple typed message builder. Maybe I should be using typed message builder. Let's see if that works. Okay. Ooh. I wonder. I think class. It is a class. No. Let me kind of take a look too. Typed message builder. That's where I was like getting typed message builder. Let's see what that is. It's a message builder that constructs a message to be published through a producer. So I am good. Here we go. So I think I should be okay too. But the send. Okay, so that's just a send. So basically, I could do a producer.new message, .key, .value, and then do a .send. Maybe that's what I would do, right? Okay, so okay, let's not worry about some of these fancy things I was gonna do, right? So okay, let me just kind of we'll worry about it later. So then, actually, over here. Okay, this part, right? Let me worry about it later. And what time is it? It's already, time flies, and when I'm having fun. I actually do have another meeting coming up pretty soon. So let me kind of get this part coded up So what I'll do is that next time when I come along, I should have this all sorted out, and then we can then take a look. So this is what I'm looking at, right? So doing a producer, and then we want to be able to do a producer.send, but over here, of course, the send won't work. So essentially, too, we're doing a producer.new message, right? Oh. Let's do this one thing. It's too confusing. Okay, do a new message first, and then and it's basically then it's a typed message builder. But I want to be able to say, okay, let's just get back in here. Doing a new message and then dot key, and my key and my value. So basically, we can send that. I guess we don't necessarily need the key, but let's just do the value. How about that? Essentially doing, so this is actually a synchronous call. Okay, that's fine. Let's do a synchronous. Next time we do is do an async next time. But for now, let's do, I think for this, then we'll have to do the dot key, my key. I think dot key. Let me take a look. Is a string, so we could, okay, and then the value is the type T, so we could also do a so it can be a type message. Okay, so that's good. So once we get the type message builder, we should be able to essentially then do a dot send, right? Oh, like, oops, just like what we were doing just now. So just like this here. Okay, so dot key and then dot value and dot send. Okay, so let's do this one thing. New message. Let's do this one thing. Let's do it a little bit nicer. So key, string key. So test key. How about that? Oops. I don't know why this thing is so. Okay, anyway, I think I should be able to say test value, maybe. Oops. I think it's, I don't know why sometimes on IntelliJ it doesn't know. For some reason, it doesn't seem to recognize this pattern of this function, right? This essentially is the chaining that I'm doing. Okay, so then, okay, so I should be able to do this, and then, so, okay, so then I can log it and then make sure that, okay, I don't know, the content. So now I don't have the content, which is okay. So we'll just do this. Publish message with the ID, message ID. So that's what we'll do. And basically, two is that the producer will then have to close. But then I think, because I have all of these things inside that, so I need to close it. Oops. Okay. Like this. Okay, sometimes it just doesn't know. Okay, and my client. Okay, so my client should be closed within here too. Now, why did I think maybe my okay, my try is here, and then where is it? Okay, it's basically the main. I think I got something like off key in here. So. I think that's done with my try. So essentially, my try doesn't have to be like this too. Maybe that's why, because I'm off to. Oops. No wonder. Shouldn't be blame my IDE. It's just me. Okay, actually, okay. And then producer close, and then doing that. So that's important. Apparently, you want to make sure that your producer is close and your client is close too. So, okay, so this should be good. Now, the thing is that I have a meeting coming up in just 2 minutes. So, so I won't be able to continue with this right now, but at least I think I got this coded up, right? And I don't need to debug that. Okay, so here it is, right? Let's take a look again. Let me kind of go back here. Why is this okay? Okay, well, let's kind of take a look again. So essentially too, wow, this kind of shrink up. Well, actually, because I didn't do that. Why is it like that? This is ridiculous. I wanted a little bit more like this, right? Message. And then there's also, if you remember, right? There's also Apache.Pulsar client.api.message ID, right? And then I also have an import.apache.pulsar.client.api.pulsar client, and then import or Apache Pulsar client, client.api. What other thing am I using in here? Producer, of course, I'm doing the producer one. Okay, and then that's all pretty much, right? Okay, producer, actually. Okay, just kind of more orderly. Okay, so that's good. So somehow my message builder is in there. I was expecting, and like I said, I was gonna try to do something, and then I'm not using these things. Okay, that's fine. We can leave it there. So let me, and also the message too. So essentially, we don't even need that. But like I said, next time let me go in and play around, massage the message, and make it a little different. But you get the idea. So all I'm doing is making a client connection first. Once it's good, we actually create this producer, tie it to the topic, and then basically then send the message. Like I said, we need to do a little more. Maybe there's also compression to be done, setting the quality of service and that type of stuff. So we can look at it. Oh, and then this one too, my Pulsar client exception. I had it too, but I don't know why. Okay, Pulsar client. Okay, what I'll do is, okay, exception, right? Okay, there we go. Then this should be all good. Okay, that's pretty good. And this guy, well, okay, I won't do this. Well, okay, that's fine for now. All right, so we can try to just build it to make sure it works. Just building it doesn't hurt, right? To just make sure it builds. It's always good too. Actually, that's another thing, right? Whenever we do whenever we do any work is with coding, right? I also try to do that. Even though you're not done with your class, just build it to kind of make sure it builds. So okay, good. At least we know that it builds okay. The syntax, everything is good. So okay, so I'll leave it at this time. And like I said, this is just a short 45 minutes stream because yesterday I couldn't get to this part. So let's say that, okay, we've accomplished, right? Writing a very simple, basic Java producer client. Next time we come back, we'll kind of massage this a little bit and also then get the consumer client side ready. Then we can see action next time too. Okay, if I have time, actually, I'd like to do another stream over the weekend if you're interested too. Just let me know, okay? And thank you so much again. And don't forget to join me on my Discord server if you're interested in more topics around here. And you all please take care, okay? All right, I'll see you, okay? Bye.